I beg of the spread of the abyss. It must be stopped. All of you, forgive me, for I have failed you.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Ghostly French Toast, and today we're doing a Dark Souls lore video. And this lore video is on the Knight Artorias the Abyss Walker. I've been wanting to do this guy for a while, so enough dawdling around, let's dive on in. To know Artorias is to know the gods themselves and what they feared. As I said, in the beginning, there's Craigfields. I've gone over this so many times, so I think you have the basic idea. So after the War of Ancient Dragons, Gwen basically bestowed his power, a part of his soul, to people that helped in the war. And he just gave some of the powers to the 4 kings of New Londo. And the 4 kings of New Londo are very important to the story of Artorias. The 4 kings had foresight, and that basically allowed them to see slightly in the future. And with Gwen giving them some of his soul, it basically allowed the 4 kings to see into the future better and basically be better rulers over their New Londo. But over time, New Londo fell to the abyss. And it was because of a serpent named Karth, and a primordial serpent, Karth. The thing with Karth is the complete opposite of Framp. Framp wants the Age of Fire to continue, while Karth wants the Age of Fire to end. And Karth basically lured the 4 kings into surrendering their city to the abyss by tempting them with the power of a life drain. And what life drain is, it basically steals the souls of humanity. And this basically formed the Dark Race, and some people consider them to be the basically enemy of man, the main antagonist. But some might say they're the most human, because they have accepted the dark, and as we know, the Furtive Pygmy, or depends how you look at it, one of the Furtive Pygmies, basically created humans. And now we know how New Londo fell. We got to know the major players in the story of Artorias. So the main thing to talk about is Gwen, and what he feared most is humanity. And we see how he rigged the world in his favor. He put the pygmies at the end of the world, and he gave him so many gifts to say. He gave him one of his youngest daughter. He gave him a city. He gave them power to rule over their own city. But some people might say this is good for the pygmies, but as we know, this was not a good thing, because it was just Gwen rigging the world in his favor. Because if we look at the Ring Knights were basically had the rings, the dark side of man on them, and that basically forced them to have light at them at all times, basically limiting their power. And above the ring city flew Madir, an arch-dragon that basically kept watch over the city. Kind of ironic, don't you think, that Gwen, one of the final lines of defense of his world, is an arch-dragon, because arch-dragons were what Gwen hunted and what rule over the world. I find that kind of ironic, don't you think? Another major player is the Furtive Pygmy, so easily forgotten. What the Furtive Pygmy is a pygmy from the Ring City who traveled to Ulasil and most likely died there, never to come back to the Ring City. And what happened was Ulasil was seduced by Dark Serpent Karth into upturning the grave of Primeval Man. And that was not a good thing to say, as Hawkeye Garth would say.
Seduced by a dark serpent or no, they awoke that thing themselves and drove it mad.
And once the outbreak of madness started, once he was dug up and awoken, Ulasil fell. Everything went to ruins. The townsfolk got corrupted by the Majestic Abyss, and this was one of the first exposures of the Abyss in Gwen's world, and this was what got him worried. And this was what got him scared of the Abyss. So probably the first line of defense that was sent out there was Artorias, and this is where we get into Artorias' storyline. Artorias was specifically made to combat the Abyss. My guess he was brought in after the Ulasil outbreak and the new Londo outbreak of the Abyss. So originally Artorias was first sent to New Londo to try to kill the Dark Wraiths, and he succeeded in holding them back, but it was a losing battle. They know where they're gonna lose. When New Londo was getting built, Gwen put on a fail-safe measure if things got out of hand. Because he still feared humans no matter what, even in the beginning. He put a fail-safe that would drown the city and basically hold back humanity for as long as it can. And that is what Artorias did. Him and the sealers of New Londo basically drowned the city and killing millions of people. Not millions, like thousands of people in the process of trying to keep back the Abyss and the Dark Wraiths. And we see this in game that we released the waters in New Londo. Something to take note of was that Artorias was a part of an elite group called the Four Knights of Gwen that also includes Ornstein, Syrian, and Hawkeye Guards. And this group was basically helped Gwen take over the world and basically allow the Age of Light to happen. Artorias also had a relationship or of some sort with Syrian. They were lovers of some sort, and we see this after you kill Artorias in the base game. Syrian is that Artorias' corpse, and like, hey, you can give Syrian's like, hey, can you give me Artorias' soul, because we're like dating and all, and that's the thing, you know. Something else, Artorias also had a pet, Sif. Sif is very important to this also. It really defines Artorias' character. And once after the whole New Londo incident, Artorias was sent to Ulasil to try to take out the Abyss, and we know how that went. We see how the Abyss has corrupted everything in the environment. We see how it corrupted Calamite, the Black Dragon. And the reason I think he was corrupted was because it's called Black Dragon. And we know in Darksouls 2, the Black Dragon weaponry was from Calamite, the Black Dragon. So that's something interesting to take note of. So Artorias went to Ulasil and tried to take out Manus, but we know how that went horribly. We know he got close to Manus. We know he got really close, but he failed horribly. He got absolutely destroyed, my dude. And with his last-ditch effort in his Great Shield, he basically protected his wolf Sif. And in a cutscene, if you go back to fight Sif after killing Artorias, there's a whole cutscene with it. Because we see this in Artorias' character, that he cares more about the others. And we see, more importantly, you see this in the cut dialogue.
All of you, forgive me, for I have availed you nothing.
And after the whole Ulasil outbreak, Artorias broke his right arm and became left-handed, and we know that as time went on, after we killed Artorias in the game, Artorias' blade got passed down from owner to owner. And something to take important of in DS2, we see the Majestic Blade, and it's basically Artorias' greatsword, and you get his movement if you use the greatsword in the left arm. I always thought that was cool. I wish they did that in Dark Souls 3. That would have been really cool, but I understand. Artorias' legacy was something very important, and we see this no better than the Abyss Watchers, and a legion formed to combat the Abyss in a similar fighting style to Artorias. And it's kind of ironic how the Legion of Farron fell. They fell to the Abyss from Karthus. The Abyss spread from Wolmir's Cup and most likely took control of the Abyss Watchers, and that's why they're fighting himself, because the Abyss Watchers were made to combat the Abyss, and I just find that really ironic, to be honest. And yeah, that's basically the overview of Artorias. Hopefully you enjoyed. I really enjoyed making this, and see you next time. Toast to French Toast. Bye.